Would you do things differently if you had it to do over again? This is a question my son asked me just a few days ago. He was particularly asking what I would do differently as a father. It comes from a place of recently becoming a dad himself. Yes, was my answer. Yes, I would want to do things better. My wife has a creative memory photo album of the family. It captures the highlights of every year since our marriage. And I become sentimental whenever I take a look at it. There are good memories of our family playing together, taking trips, laughing, and lots of celebrating. While imperfect at being a father, I did try to nurture a good atmosphere. It was important for us to compliment and affirm positive traits in our children. Saying, "I love you," and asking for forgiveness was a part of normal life. We deliberately honored family and tried to create family bonds. I, along with Diana, was intentional to instill values and build character. We tried to consistently not only teach, but to also model those values. And there were many of those qualities, such as being kind to others, living simply, caring for the marginalized, and being truthful. These flowed out of our faith and our church community. Well, that sounds great, you might say. Why would you say you would do it differently? Well, I would point out two glaring mistakes from parenting our children. I was a mess as a young man until I seriously gave my life to Christ. And as a dad, I wanted to protect my children from the pain that I had experienced. Sadly, a lack of graciousness and a fair amount of fearful concern came across to them as never quite being good enough. And on a deeper level, I guess it short-circuited their self-worth as a person. Also, as a father, I tried to consistently discipline my children. We particularly worked on disobedience, unkind treatment of others, and bad attitudes. Again, sadly, many times I was inconsistent and even unfair with discipline. And to make matters worse, I could be intense and angry in discipline. Often, I would need to say, "The reason I disciplined you was right, but the way I did it was wrong." Fortunately for us, God is a good Father who gets it right. He is gracious, fair, and always disciplines in the very best way. Let me read to you Hebrews 12, 4 through 11. "In your struggle against sin, you have not yet resisted to the point of shedding your blood. And you have forgotten that word of encouragement that addresses you as sons. My son, do not make light of the Lord's discipline, and do not lose heart when he rebukes you, because the Lord disciplines those he loves, and he punishes everyone he accepts as a son. Endure hardship as a discipline. God is treating you as sons, for what son is not disciplined by his father? If you are not disciplined, and everyone undergoes discipline, then you are illegitimate children and not true sons. Moreover, we have all had human fathers who disciplined us, and we respected them for it. How much more should we submit to the Father of our spirits and live? Our fathers disciplined us for a little while as they thought best, but God disciplines us for our good, that we may share in his holiness. No discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it." Not only is his discipline done in the very best way, but it is for our best. The idea of discipline does have negative connotations. That's because it's often administered harshly and hurtfully. But it's actually a very positive way to bring correction and flourishing. And the Heavenly Father disciplines us for our good. While earthly fathers, like myself, mess up, God never does. It's the child He loves that He disciplines and corrects. Do you realize what's happening here? God's educating you. Your troubles aren't harsh and hurtful punishment. It's training. Character is formed through God allowing us to endure hardships, obstacles, and difficulties. Someone has said, God whispers to us in our pleasures, speaks in our conscience, but shouts in our pain. There are times when God withholds from us some pleasure in order to provide an even greater moral shaping. The point of our lives in this world is not for us to be comfortable. It's for us to be trained and prepared for eternity. Our key spiritual insight: God's loving discipline in our lives is for our correction. It keeps us on a path of growth and maturity. There are many mature Christians who would say that God's correction has ended up bringing them much closer to Him. So don't be discouraged by it, and don't try to get out of it ahead of time. Let God's discipline do its work in you so that you may become mature and well-developed. All discipline contains at least the opportunity for good if we allow it. God is a father, but unlike your father or my father or myself, He is a good father who has the wisdom to always get it right. He is personally and directly intersecting your life for your own good.